What's up, Nathan?
What up?
Hey, man, I'm going to let everybody in. I wanted to let you in first. You ready to go?
Yep.
Sweet. Hey, I appreciate you doing this again. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So letting everybody
If
in.
there's not at least 50,
You're just bailing. You're like, yeah, we gotta have 50. That's funny. Let's see here. I gotta kick out the note takers that are AI. I don't let those in.
But all right. Oh.
Kick the AIs. All right, cool. Got a good group. Hey, everybody, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Doing good. Welcome to the meeting. We're going to keep letting everybody in. We will give it just about 5 minutes total. Make sure everybody gets a chance to arrive before we kick off Nathan to present today. Nathan, thank you so much. I know I said it privately, but I'm saying it publicly now. Thank you so much
No problem.
for being here and sharing your knowledge and wisdom.
Hey, don't thank me yet.
Oh, well, you know, and we'll let everybody else weigh in on that then. Let's see. We got 2 more minutes. We'll give it. But Nathan, I tell you what. While we're waiting on that, the couple of minutes, do you want to just briefly introduce yourself, share a little bit about you and in your agency, and then I don't know if that's actually in the deck, but if it is, then I guess I can wait.
It was. I had it all mapped out.
All right. Well, then I'll leave it alone.
No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So this is our 7th year in business. So my wife and I started this thing back in late 2017, and we've just been, pretty much grinding away, just like everybody else, just trying to grow the business. And so some of the stuff we're going to talk about today has been huge in getting our business established. And so I'm excited to kind of share some of those tidbits with y'all guys.
Awesome. All right, still letting some folks in. Just keep getting a couple here and there. Welcome. If you just joined, we're giving it 1 more minute here, and then we'll be kicking off. Just making sure everybody gets a chance to arrive. And by the way, if I know today's not one of our open Q&As, but if you did have some questions that you want us to address in, say, next week's open Q&A, instead of forgetting it, if you want to post one of those questions into the chat, happy to take it, save it, make sure we get it addressed for you next week. Obviously, this week, it's all about our guest speaker and sharing his info. So I think we are there. So, oh, Marty's here. Look at that. What?
Me? No.
I thought you took the day off. I'm just kidding. I saw that calendar. Oh, it's busy.
How you use the restroom? Sorry.
How dare you?
I know, my boss keeps me so busy, I don't have time to use the bathroom.
I know, man. He's a slave driver. You can tell him, calm down. All right, guys, we're at that 5-minute mark. So Nathan, I'll let you here. I'll highlight you. Oh, perfect. You got slides. So go for it, man.
Cool. All right. So I'm assuming you can see my screen because
Yes,
it shows
sir.
I'm sharing. All right. So I'll just kind of dive right in. I think I left plenty of time at the end for questions. So if you have some questions, just kind of jot them down and we can kind of address them at the end. So we're going to kind of go over, we've kind of been hitting on this over the last, I don't know, several weeks, just kind of touching on it. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into my experience and kind of share some tidbits that I've learned along the way, and hopefully it'll be helpful for your guys as well. So without further ado, so what are business networking groups? I'm sure y'all have heard that term thrown around a lot. Maybe some of y'all have visited some. It's essentially just people like us, right? Like business owners going out and meeting other business owners and businesses and trying to come together with a common cause of helping each other get some revenue coming in, right? Some additional revenue. So There's a few different types of groups that are out there. Some that you'll come across are free, some that are paid. Some of y'all may have visited Chamber of Commerce in your area. So we'll kind of dive into some of these and kind of see what's going on. So anybody been to some free networking groups in the past year or so? So I
Yes.
actually started out in free networking groups. I can remember one I went to for probably a good solid year and a half. Um, Definitely gained some info. There's a lot of business owners in there. I think I made some decent connections and things like that. As far as actual closed business on that, maybe y'all have had some different experiences. I think I ended up closing like one deal, maybe two out of that, which is obviously nice. But if I think about all the hours that I invested in showing up every week, it didn't really pan out in the in the long run. So the advantages of free, obviously, is that it's free, right? Like you don't have to literally pay money to show up. You just kind of show up, meet and greet, trying to get to know some people. The bad part of it is because it's free, there's not really any accountability. Nobody's grounded to be there every week. You'll probably notice if you've been to some of those, you'll see different faces all the time. So it's harder to establish those relationships because, as y'all know, as you get to know people, it's a lot easier to trust them to do business with them. But if you see them like once every other month or so, it's hard to kind of get grounded in those relationships. So that's kind of my personal experience with free networking groups. I don't really attend them anymore personally. If a friend or another colleague invited me to one, I might support them, but I don't invest my time in it. Chamber of Commerce. Some of y'all have probably visited Chamber of Commerce or might even be a part of a Chamber of Commerce. I personally have never actually signed up fully for any Chamber of Commerce. I've been to some events. I've obviously visited inside and gotten some business cards and things like that. I know a lot of businesses that are in the chamber, and there is some benefits, obviously, right? So if you go to chamber, you sign up, you become a member, you can start to get to know some people. But from what I've found, some of the stuff that I did and a lot of my colleagues have done, you got to invest a lot of time, right? And some of those events that you go to, it's hit and miss who shows up. Usually it's maybe a couple of the same people, but not as much traction can be gained versus some other types of groups that are out there. Anybody else have any different experience with chamber so far? No?
I've actually done okay with the chamber.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not dogging it. I put it on there as kind of a happy medium. All right, so I will move on to the paid networking groups. So with paid networking groups, there's a lot of things that come along with it. A lot of times with paid, there's going to be things. Obviously, the con is you have to pay for it, right? So money has to come out of pocket up front. Some people, when they first start a business, aren't in a position to pay a bunch of money up front to become a part of a group. Usually, there's going to be some rules that are involved with that, and depending upon your availability week to week, sometimes you may not be able to make it work. But what I can tell you is, if you can make it work, and I highly encourage you to be able to make it work, is some pros. There's going to be exclusivity, consistency, accountability, loyalty. You're going to really build some strong and trusted referral partners. You can be part of a large networking team that has your back, and obviously the best part is money, right? Okay. So, what kind of paid networking groups are there? There's a ton. So if you just Google business networking groups near me, you're going to find some. There's a bunch of different types out there. Personally, for me, I invested in BNI. I started back in 2016 with another company I used to work for. I used to work for a couple of large marketing firms back when I first got started in marketing in like 2013, 2014. And then converted to my own business in late 2017. But starting back in 2016, I was told, go join a BNI chapter, just go do it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what that means. But so I dove in. My first experience with BNI was not as good as I had hoped, just because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what to expect. So me being able to share with y'all my experience hopefully will help some of y'all guys out if you're looking into a paid networking group. So the first thing is it is exclusive. I should have put an asterisk on there. So exclusive meaning there's usually specific chairs that are held in a paid networking group. For digital marketing, there's different ways to do it. Whenever I first joined, I didn't know what I was doing. So there was actually two other digital marketing companies in the group that I first joined, and we all did the same thing. So because I was the latest to the game, they had already built those relationships and that was already established. I didn't really get a whole lot out of that first group, but I had two clients that were in a different chapter, and they're like, "We don't have any digital marketing people over here. Why don't you transfer over here?" So in 2017, I transferred over to a different group, and I was more strategic on how I got my chair and stuff like that. I literally just held the essentially the digital marketing chair, which encompassed quite a bit of stuff. And so far over the last 8 years, our company has netted $400,000 in business just from BNI. So it's been huge for us. Definitely a good place to spend time, and I'll kind of dive in some of the pros that I've kind of seen with it. So first thing is, especially if you're starting out in business, a lot of times you can feel like you're kind of trudging along on your own. So when you come in with a trusted group of partners, you're literally it's iron sharpening iron, right? You're amongst other business owners that are in the trenches with you. They've got your back, and it's honestly a breath of fresh air. I know in our group, there's been several times where people have been like, "Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy week already. It's so great to be amongst y'all guys because it's been it's just been hard this week or whatever, right?" Another cool thing that you can use it for, and I've used it several times over the last couple years, is whenever we're prospecting, right? Sometimes it can get old. You just dial in, dial in, dial in. It feels like you're getting lost. You're getting a lot of no's and things like that, and you just have maybe a bad week or whatever. I used to just randomly dial cold, like I'm just gonna go with plumbers today, or I'm gonna go with HVAC today, or whatever, and just dial, dial, dial. Well, they hear the same old story every time, right? It's like, okay, what are you selling? Blah blah blah. Try to get you off the phone as quickly as possible. But I flipped the script on them a couple years ago, and I started just simply inviting them to BNI, right? Hey, you looking to grow your business? Hey, I'd love for you to come out and check out this group. It could be huge, bring you a lot of revenue for your business. Would you be open to that? And whether they came or not, or decided to visit or not, it got the conversation started with trying to help them out, right? And then it would always come back around, "Oh, well, what do you do?" Because I would just mention it's a bunch of business owners, and they would say, "Hey, what do you do?" I'd say, "Oh, I'm glad you asked." I was like, "We do digital marketing." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Sometimes it'd be like, "Oh, cool, we've got a company." Or sometimes it would be, "Hey, I've actually been thinking of reaching out because our, renewal's expiring," or whatever the case may be. So, and the other cool thing is if you can actually get them to come visit, you get your own commercial. Everybody that's a member gets their own commercial. So literally you're inviting them to hear your elevator pitch to come on board with your company from a cold call. So that can be pretty cool. Another one is if you become a member, you get access to all the members. So BNI has over 300,000 members across the globe. It's like over 79 countries. It's not a good idea just to like blast everybody, right? Like you got to be strategic about it. It's got to be more like, "Hey, I'd love to have a one-to-one with you, get to know your business, yada, yada, yada." But it's a huge network that you can dive into and work on building those relationships. Another cool thing is it adds legitimacy. So when you become a member, you're part of an international organization. You get your own business page, kind of similar to, Chamber of Commerce and some of these other sites. So it adds an extra layer of, hey, I'm not just some random person with a Gmail account. Hopefully I'll have a professional account, but sometimes when you do cold outreach, it's Gmail or whatever. But this adds that extra layer to show, hey, I'm not just some random person giving you a call. Another thing you can do if you're a member is you can visit other chapters around you. So again, you got to be strategic with it. You don't want to roll up into another chapter that has a digital marketing agency and step on their toes. But if it's open, go check it out. Introduce yourself to a whole nother group of people that doesn't know a digital marketing agency. So that can be really cool. And then another cool thing, if your schedule allows, is you can also do some additional things for additional revenue. So you can help launch other chapters. You can oversee chapters. I've done both. We're in a group, aside from the group I'm in, I've got a salesperson in another group. I actually launched that chapter, and they took care of me for helping launch a chapter, and then I continued to oversee that chapter. So There's other revenue streams that can be made with that, which is really cool, just to kind of keep that in your back pocket. And then the kind of the last piece to the benefit is depending upon the chapter size, right? You got to look and see what's available in your area. Our chapter's right at 50, which is awesome. So let me kind of give you a tidbit of how things go with our group, right? So if somebody goes on Facebook and was like, hey, do you know a website guy, or do you know an SEO guy, or whatever? These are the people on my team that shout me out on Facebook. So I think this one has like 8 tags on it. So this person looking for website update, blah blah blah. These are actually, they came on board as a client, right? That company is actually helping us out with this client. So it's really neat. This is a recent one, a few months ago. This one was last month. Somebody's like, hey, does anybody know a website builder? Here you go, another 6 tags. Hey, get with Nathan, he's an expert, blah blah blah, right? These are people that have my back on my team and my BNI group. Looking for someone who specializes in SEO. What does this one have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another 8 tags. Hey, get with Nathan, get with Nathan, get with Nathan. Do you think he reached out? Yes, he did. Another one. Looking for someone to create and design a business website. I think this one has 13 tags. So you can kind of see some of these are a mixture of clients and people on my team. That's the other cool thing. It's really neat to see clients jump in and be like, hey, reach out as well. So I think I talked way too fast, Mike, so I apologize. But that's kind of a high-level overview of some of the stuff that we've been doing over the last 8 years. It's been super impactful for our business. If you have any questions about BNI or interested in it, I'd love to help, answer any questions and things like that.
So, and I can fill some questions if nobody raises their hand, but guys, go ahead, use the raise hand feature. If you got a question about business networking, business groups, any of that, go ahead. Brandon, your first one, go for it, man.
Woohoo! Right on. Hey, awesome job, Nathan. This is
Thank
so
you.
cool. I'm just curious, I've over the past really, I'd say about 6 to 8 weeks, I've been diving into some local groups here in the Valley, and I can relate to what you said earlier on. Some of them are kind of like, wow, I can, maybe just a waste of time. Very sweet people, but you can kind of get the sense that this isn't going to be a good investment of time, let's say.
Right.
Other ones seem much more involved. We're lucky here there's 3 chambers nearby, and the one I'm involved with in Meridian, Idaho, is very active, and I see a huge support system and lots of faces there at every event seem to show up. So pretty excited about that one. But in terms of BNI, I've looked around at a few different chapters, and you'd given me some ideas too when we talked a couple weeks ago. But what is like the initial kind of investment that we'd be talking about in order to join a group or multiple groups, just from your experience? Like what kind of business investment do we need to make?
Every market and every chapter is different. So like in the DFW market, the yearly membership is like $8.99. Oh, actually just went up to $10.99. And then there's going to be chapter dues, monthly chapter dues to take care of the venue. Ours is like $30 a month. I've seen some people meet at like trophy clubs and stuff where it's like $100 a month. It just depends on the venue and the chapter. There's some regions that it's like $500 a year. There's some regions that are like $800 a year. So you just have to check locally what their rates are. But I'll tell you this, even if it was, $2,000 or whatever, I mean, obviously there's a limit, right? But if it's within reason, break it down to the 12 months, right? So ask yourself, could $300 a month buy me a team of 50 people that are constantly having their eyes and ears out for my business? If you had to go out and hire a marketing team to go market your business, what's that worth to you? $1,500, $2,000 may sound like a lot, but if you break it down over the course of 12 months, $150 a month, $200 a month, I mean, you couldn't pay somebody that to do, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things. It's just got to make sense, for your business. But we've averaged about $50,000 a year in revenue just from this one, outreach system. So it's been good for us.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks.
No
Great
problem.
question. So 150 bucks, 200 bucks a month when you average it out, but roughly they should be thinking $1,500, $2,000 is probably a pretty
Yeah,
common
it may be
investment level.
less. It just depends
Yeah.
on the
Okay.
where they are
Cool.
locally.
Awesome. Jorge, you got a question?
Yeah, with I was gonna ask at that last part of the of your presentation there with, you know, all these people that are kind of have their eyes and ears out for you, that are kind of unofficially marketing for you. Is there any incentive or compensation that you offer? You know, maybe not in that public online forum, but hey, if you have a friend, sort of thing, you throw my way, I'll do such and such for you, something like that.
No, I don't pay them any referral bonuses or anything like that. That's just part of the group. So the thing with BNI I didn't really get into, they have an app that tracks everything. So you can see your referrals that you've sent other people. You can see the ones that you've received. You can see how much business you've closed, how much they've closed, and so it's all tracked. That's the other cool thing. You can literally see your ROI right in the app. You just go to your app and log in, and so I could, I might get a few more, but no, I don't currently pay them for any like referral bonuses or anything.
And as a kind of you know, second question, if I may, so with the attendance requirements, it has to be a physical meeting that you go to, or is there any virtual meetings, combination of?
BNI has it depends on the region, but there are hybrid where it's a mixture of virtual and in person. They have strictly virtual and then they have strictly in person. What I can tell you from being a part of all of that, because we went through COVID and our chapter survived, I think we still held on to like 35 or 40 people during COVID. I can tell you it was night and day going from Zoom back to in person, not only just from how it refreshes you every week to the number of referrals you got. So during COVID, referrals went way down. It could have been a mixture of COVID, but also the virtual aspect of it. It's just a different, it's like being married, right? Like if you only ever got to see your wife virtually or your spouse virtually, like that relationship would probably fizzle out, right? Or be really hard. But you get to see somebody in person, it's a totally different dynamic. So I would just say if you can swing it, definitely do the in person. It's night and day.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry I talk
Clay,
so fast.
You're good, man. Hey, no, I'd rather pack a ton of value and then give everybody their time back than drag it out. So 100% love it. Thank you.
It's
Go
hard
for
to
it,
talk for 45 minutes to an hour, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Marty, it doesn't take you anything to talk for an hour when you're supposed to keep it at 45 minutes. Go for it, Clay. Sorry.
Hey, how's it going, Nathan?
Pretty good.
Good, man. So I've done a bunch of networking I was in a BNI for a different business years ago, and in one of the knockoff groups when I first started doing marketing, and I just have a question for you in regards to like the power teams that you like to build and like who you like to partner with in those word of mouth referral groups, where you've seen the best returns or the best, referral flow.
Yeah. So in our group, there's about 3 or 4, sometimes 5 of us that are all B2B that'll meet separately. So yeah, within BNI, you can have what's called power teams, which is essentially like, obviously you can get referrals from everybody in the group, but when it really boils down to it, you're probably going to get several referrals off of a select few over time, just because y'all are more like-minded with like B2B type stuff. So like I do have a more of an inner sphere, if you will. So I've got like an office equipment person, a commercial banker, commercial insurance. Who else is on there? So I got a photographer, videographer, and a like a print company. So they actually embroidered, our hats and shirts and all of our stuff. So that's kind of my inner sphere. And so since we have similar businesses that we come across, that's where a lot of our referrals come from, besides from the like the Facebook tags. Another way to get referrals is visitors. For probably the first 4 years in BNI, the majority of my business all in was from visitors that just swung through to check out the group. And then we would meet afterwards, and then they would become a client. They didn't ever join the group, but they rolled through as a visitor to check it out.
That,
And
that
it
makes
didn't
sense.
pan out.
They're
Yeah.
prospecting, kind of.
Yeah.
They want more leads. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So there's all kinds of cool, and it really gets neat when you get into like tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 referrals. Like somebody referred you to somebody, then that person refers you to somebody, then like it's crazy how deep the wormhole can go from one referral, which
Yeah.
is pretty neat too.
Cool. I think
love-
that wraps up my question. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I will say, if you do decide to get into a group, the group is what you make it, right? So if you get in a group and you cross your arms and sit back and you're like, I'm waiting for the referrals to come, probably won't come. You have to get in, you have to do one-to-ones with people, get to know everybody, and don't be a detractor. Essentially, add value to the group. Be excited about it. People that come in and that are just like sitting in the corner and just like passing their time, it's not going to be worth it. You're probably not going to end up staying in the group very long. But if you get in, you're serious about it, you're very intentional with your time and what you're there for, it can be a game changer.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's like givers gain, It's the philosophy
Exactly
over
right.
there, really.
Yep.
I got some extra questions to throw into the mix. So for somebody that hasn't experienced, doing any kind of networking, getting their feet wet with some free groups, just so, they can gain that experience before they go into some of these paid groups. What are the places that you would find those free groups? How would you go about researching them in the beginning?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
You're
I
good.
thought you said this question is for the people
No,
who
no,
haven't been in the
No,
group.
no, it's you. Yeah.
All right,
So
let me send you a message too, because I was distracted by something real quick.
You're good. So for folks that are looking at free groups, where did you find some of your initial free groups to look at?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember because one of them met in a hospital at one point, and then a bank. That was so long ago. It was like back in like 2015. Shoot, I probably Facebook, honestly. I put out a message like, is any other businesses looking to meet? Facebook's a great place. There's so many different groups that you can join on Facebook, like local groups. Yeah, LinkedIn. And just man, I'm trying to remember where I met.
I found one on Meetup before, but it was like a third generation copy of BNI. It was kind of a sloppy group, but it was the same format,
Mhm.
But it was good. I met a guy who then invited me to a better group, so
Yeah, it does lead to other opportunities. So actually, it's funny. The free group is how I ended up finding the BNI group I'm in now. So
Yeah.
there was a BNI member in the free group that became a client. It was like the only client I got from the free group. He then invited me to the BNI group that I'm in now.
yeah. It's funny how that works. Like the BNI members, we would be prospecting in the free groups to try to find visitors, and bring them into BNI, like find the guys who are
Yeah.
serious.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
There's definitely golden nuggets in different places. You just have to be kind of going back to being intentional with your time. I'm definitely not knocking free groups because there's some free groups that can turn into really cool stuff if everybody's dedicated. It's just when you take out the money piece, the accountability piece a lot of times goes with it. And then people are just kind of, whatever about it. They come occasionally, don't really add value sometimes. So that's the main thing, being intentional.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to be there. And I'd love to add something on that too, is that like BNI really took me from somebody who was like afraid of public speaking, and you're in there, and they every week, it's like Nathan said, like there's accountability. You got to show up every week, and you're standing up and giving a commercial, and then you're also giving a 5 or 10 minute speech, when they cycle through the group. And my ability to speak in front of people and my confidence when I'm out prospecting and on meetings with clients, I can attribute almost all of that growth to being in those groups.
Yep.
Get that
I can
practice, that
attest to that.
repetition.
Yeah.
There's
That's awesome.
a lady in our group right now who was there before I got there. When she first joined, she could barely even stand and speak. She would get so shaky. And then she became she was my secretary treasurer whenever I was president a couple years ago, and she crushed it. Like, it's just really
Awesome.
neat. Yeah, to see growth and stuff that can pull out of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions from anybody? By the way, I love the power group idea of other B2B folks that are already talking to folks that you should be talking to. Those are going to certainly be very, very powerful. That's awesome.
Jose is raising his hand.
Yeah, Jose, go for it, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to add for like a free resource. I found Alignable is like a kind of like Meetup, but it's a business networking website. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It is free, but I found some local groups here that's strictly like businesses meeting up to try and network. So that might be a good resource. And you can actually make a profile showcasing all your services just like you would with the BNI, so people can kind of search what you do in the area.
Yeah, Alignable, Meetup. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I'll throw into that, I haven't looked into this for years, but I used it for a period of time. I actually met some really cool people as a result that I'm still connected to, and that is Shaper. Has anybody ever used Shaper before? No? It's like basically business Tinder. you're like swiping right and left on people of like, oh, cool. Yeah, I want to meet with that person. I don't want to meet with this person. And then when you match somebody, you chat for a bit, and then hey, yeah, let's have a coffee together. Let's talk business.
Shaper, you said?
Shaper.
Like a shape?
Yeah, SHAPR, I think. It's an app.
Sounds like a male
Interesting.
version of Spanx or something.
Business dating, right?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, I haven't used it in a while, but definitely made some cool contacts out of that.
Cool.
Let's see if I can find it.
Brandon post chat.
There you go. Thank you. John, you got questions? Go for it.
I just really have a comment. Nathan, great job. I attended a BNI about a month ago. I was invited to it from my brother-in-law, who was a member, and I went, and there was already 3 or 4 people there who were digital marketers.
Yeah.
And they asked me what I did, and I didn't say digital marketing. I said all-in-one business marketing software company. And that intrigued them. They're, oh, that's interesting. What does that entail? So it was different from what they were expecting, so
Right.
I guess my point is be creative on your words, that's what I found. So and I didn't end up joining the chapter. The one that I visited, the lady who was the digital marketing, she was also head of she was like from a radio station, so she was handling digital marketing for a radio station. So she pretty much had a grip of that whole group. So,
Yeah.
But I did, it was the first time I've ever been to one. It was very organized. I was actually quite impressed by it. So it intrigued me to look at other locations.
Nice. Yeah, it is very structured. That is one thing that you have to get used to, but there's a reason behind it, right? It keeps it on task, on time.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't get too scattered to the wind one way or the other. But that's what one-to-ones are for. That's where you can get off topic and get to know people and more of the ins and outs and stuff like that.
For sure. Yeah.
By the way, it totally looks like Shaper got acquired in the meantime since I've used it now, and it like no longer exists. So never mind.
Oh, man.
Swipe left on Shaper. Check.
Yeah.
Cross that off.
Yeah. Not that one. Mike, update your information, Mike. Sorry, I'll open my Rolodex real quick and
I was cheerleading that one too quick too. I looked at it. Oh no.
dang it. Opportunity. Let's go recreate it. Anyway, what other questions we got, guys? What else from Nathan? Nathan, thank you so much.
I got a question,
sure.
but I don't know if my little hand is coming up because I'm on my phone in the car.
All right, go for it.
So I have done some networking meetings through the Chamber of Commerce here near Houston and through another business that I was working with at the time. But from what I've seen with that, it's multiple as far as businesses with their tables. Like you said, you have a live commercial happening at that time. So with BNI, with our digital marketing, we're really niched to a specific, a target audience. How is BNI set up? It's just because I know you do digital marketing, but are you niched down, or do you just cater to the masses?
No, but in 2021 I did niche down, and that was a rough year. I did get a couple, but I will say it is harder if you're in a niche. It's still doable, but it might not be as lucrative. Just being honest.
So in our case, it'll be more beneficial to join groups that are specifically like just because we're med spa and cosmetic surgeons mainly right now until we grow horizontally. So find more groups that are like networking for those.
You may want to create a Facebook group and find all the med spa because you're nationwide, right? You can help med spas nationwide.
Yeah.
So I would say create a Facebook group, dump some value in it and gather as many med spa owners as you can in there. Hopefully not ones that are right next door to each other, but if you kind of scatter them around, you can get, a bunch of contacts that way, especially if you've got a good value add.
Yep. By the way, I know that you guys are running social ads. That can actually be a really good thing to build as an ongoing resource. Is the social ads actually leads them to a group that you guys constantly post value into, and then yes, you get leads out of that group. That can be a super solid way to acquire, because not everybody's like in market right now. Like, I want to jump on this digital marketing opportunity, but there's plenty of people that'll be happy to respond to an ad, sit on the sidelines, acquire value, begin to build trust with you, which, by the way, which means then they actually come to a sales call. They already know you, they already like you, they already trust you. Closing rates skyrocket.
Yeah, and the group isn't to sell them anything. It's literally to add value. Nothing to do with digital marketing, unless it's like a free tip on, posting this could help boost whatever. But it's not to say, hey, I'm here to sell you something. It's all a value add for them.
Great recommendation. I highly recommend that if you're niche down, having that kind of a group is solid. Any other questions?
But I want to give a shout out.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I got to meet a great leader today. One of our white labels set us up for an IAR for Old McDonald's Farm Incorporated, and I met with the CIEIO.
You're ridiculous. You're so ridiculous. I was like, where is he going with this?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Your mom kept telling me today on the way back from Leesburg up to the cabin, she kept telling me that I was bad with directions, so I packed my bags and right.
This is our comedic relief. Ken Knorr, our CEO. Also my dad. He's got the dad jokes, that's for sure.
I do. Sorry, just had to throw it in there.
No,
Things were
I have
things were
had
so
people.
serious.
I've had people come to this meeting and go, "Hey, I'm here for the dad jokes. Where's
Where's
Ken?
the dad joke?
Where's Ken? He's
Where's
not
the
here
dad
delivering dad jokes."
These are ours.
Oh man. And then right now, this is no joke. Right now, they're the dad jokes. Apparently, I did not know this, and I am finding out from my dad joke source that O.J. Simpson passed away.
Yeah.
And I did not know that. It's my smart fridge just told me that the juice expired.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Cancer got him at 76.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I was like, what is going on with all the the OJ died. Got it now. Yeah, William Perry told me that the OJ Simpson died. I checked the fridge and it turns out the juice is expired. Yeah, this is everywhere. This is wrong.
Guess we can all say goodbye, Twitter world, for him. Remember him on there every day for like 10 years. Hello, Twitter world.
Oh man, Mike, you're on 405 freeway at the same time as this Ford Bronco ride.
Yep, I was heading
really?
home. I was heading home, and people were coming over the overpasses. I was, what the heck's going on, right? And I went home. My family was watching the news. What's going on? Oh, Jay's in the back of a Bronco. Yeah, and I guess he was probably about 30 minutes behind me, 20, 30 minutes, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, very strange.
Everybody has their moment where they run into that kind of stuff, right? It's a small world. And I just out of curiosity, sorry, a complete tangent. I have broken your meeting.
No, you're good.
How many people here were in the path of totality?
I was.
Yeah.
Nice.
First one ever, second one, seen one of a total eclipse before?
I don't remember the
I
one
was.
in 2017, but it wasn't a total because it spans like
So
what,
my
a couple
first-
hundred years before, like in between.
No.
Unless you go to-
You'll be
And it's-
a total eclipses happen every 18 months anywhere in the world, but the next time it'll happen on the continental United States will be 20 years. So
Oh,
it's a little
I was
bit
talking
more.
about like in your area.
Oh
like
yeah,
when you don't have to
Your
drive to
area
go
is
see
like
one, it's
300
every
years in
couple-
between,
yeah,
I
it's
think.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's a big span. Although this one crossed the path of the last one we had in the United States. So there was a crossing where a place got it twice, got both of them in total, which was kind of cool. It's very rare. Yeah, they're pretty slim. Pretty cool event. Mike and I went and saw the one in 2017. We traveled to go see it. We actually had dinner with a partner and watched the eclipse and ate dinner with the partner at his house. It was a really cool experience. I wish I'd gone and seen this one. But
could've
yeah,
come.
that it is.
I'll send you pictures.
It is an incredible experience, I believe. So
The next one is in, oop, you're muted. Yeah, the next one's in Luxor, Egypt.
in Luxor, Egypt.
Uh-huh.
That's gonna be weird. What you should do is get a spaceship launch and go out in space and see it.
So ISS got footage of this eclipse, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
As it entered into the United States, it was traveling at about 1,600 miles an hour. When it left, it was traveling at about 3,000 miles per hour. The one thing that I wish we had, there you go. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm talking about how they saw the shadow on the Earth. Do you think that's a real image? You think that's AI?
Nathan, I
I
just want to
can't-
say I gotta go
no.
because I gotta coach my kids' soccer team. We got a game today. But thank you so
luck.
much. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and knowledge with the group.
No
And
problem.
looking forward to everybody being back next week. I hope you take this, execute it if it's appropriate for you to execute for your business, I definitely think there's, a great fit here if you're a generalist agency, right? Building up those referral sources out there, looking out for you, building relationships, having a little bit of different offer of, hey, getting them to come visit a group. I think that's a super cool takeaway. You're not cold calling about you. You're trying to help something else. Obviously, the big thing is all these people that are coming to even just visit BNI, they obviously care about growing their business in some way. So that's super solid. But then, yeah, if you are niche down, I think one of the sub takeaways was, hey, you should be owning some sort of Facebook group, building a community of inside your niche. That's going to be super solid for you. All right. Thanks, guys. You guys can still keep hanging out. I'm leaving though. Bye.
Peace out, Mike.
See ya. Awesome. Thank you, Nathan.
Marty, it's on you now, buddy.
Yeah.
It's all on me. Awesome. So we're gonna have fun. Who's got the champagne? We're gonna celebrate. We've been having some great meetings with lots of different partners. Some new ones, some old ones. Like partners. Not ages wise. Geez, Clay. So yeah, things are going good. It looks like the industry is not floundering. If anything, it's taken off.
Oh yeah.
Looks like businesses are now realizing that, hey, the dry spell is over. This whole not doing marketing thing is not worth it. I'm seeing lots of people coming in going, it's time for me to start up again. Some people have stopped, weren't sure that's going good, and then they're coming back with it. What is? Oh, I was like, what's going on in chat? Now it's Ken.
There's the notes from Copilot. I wasn't even here. I know what y'all talked about. Well, what Nate talked about.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check on your old prospects, guys. That's one key thing I wanted to touch on. Check on your old prospects, because even though they weren't, ready to move forward 6 months ago, things might have changed. I'm also seeing a lot of, oh, well, this guy can do it cheaper. And then they come back in 2 months going, that guy, there's a reason why he was able to do it cheaper, because he's not doing anything. So I would highly recommend what we call a Phoenix campaign, rising from the ashes. Go ahead and call those old clients and old prospects back, and you'll be extremely surprised at how effective that could be. Matter of fact, there might be some partners in here that have
came from a Phoenix campaign of our own. Yeah.
Exactly.
True. We circle back into old. There's nothing wrong with that. The longer you're around, the bigger your list gets. But it's worthy for sure. They contacted you for a reason before. They decided not to do business with you for a reason, but people change their minds all the time, or they just weren't ready. And you happen to come back around when they are ready. So that speaks to also just keeping an open dialogue, like, whether you're doing an email campaign or whatever, an open dialogue with all of your older prospects, right? So you can stay front of mind, because you never know when they're going to be ready. You may have talked to them and they weren't ready. And then suddenly, oh, I am ready to do this now. And there's, the agency in front of me again. So that regular continual dialogue also kind of establish you as a thought leader. If nothing else, if you're doing the regular email and whatnot, if nothing else, you spawn a question that they ask their current provider because you gave them some information in your outbound campaign, and they ask their current provider, and the current provider stumbles or can't answer the question. Hey, now they're like, well, wait a second, but these guys just told me blah. Like, what is that? FUD? Marty, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Oh, yes. It's like, just FUD is what my head usually sounds like when I'm tired. But yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, it's a good way to get, it's timing, right? It's all about timing. So yeah, call upon your list of old prospects that you reached out to before. That's a great way to get the second bite of the apple.
Absolutely. My current dad jokes form is filled. Like, you know what was missing from breakfast? OJ. OJ Simpson's latest commercial, Hearst Rent-A-Car. That hurts. It's bad, man. It's bad. And nobody's saying too soon. Yeah, too soon. Too soon. I've got to come up with one though. I've got to like invent one, something that's about if it fits, you must, that there's got to be a dad joke in there somewhere. I just made Alexa roll over. That's too funny. I'll fall over.
I love dad jokes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like them because they're clean, and you can tell them to pretty much anybody. And I don't care if I get a laugh or a groan or a sigh. I have that it does not matter. My mission is accomplished, right?
Get a good eye roll.
Yeah, great. Yeah, perfect. An eye roll. I'll take that too. Yeah, absolutely. All of that is success. So. I don't know if I have enough people here that have heard my favorite joke of all time, and then we can call it a day here. Should I do my favorite joke,
Yes.
Marnie? I should do my favorite joke. It's not a dad joke, but
It's good.
it's a good joke. It's a good joke. All right. If you've heard it before, bye. Because it's not as good the second time around, but it's still funny. So my favorite joke of all time is this lady. She has a dog, and it's well trained. It follows her commands. And one day the dog stops following her commands, and she's like, something's wrong. There's something wrong with the dog. So she takes the dog to the vet, and she says, this dog was perfect to follow commands, and all of a sudden just stopped. And then so the vet and examines the dog and looks at it and says, listen, there's not really a big problem here. The problem is this dog has too much hair in its ears. It's not that he's not following commands. He can't hear you. And she goes, well, what do I do about that? I says, really simply, just go down the drugstore down the street, get you a bottle of Nair. You put some in there, the hair will fall out. The dog will be able to hear again, and everything should be fine. And so she goes, okay. So she goes down to the drugstore. She walks up to the druggist and she says, I need Nair. This is over on aisle 6 or whatever. She goes and gets it. She brings it back to check out. Then the pharmacist looks at her and says, well, ma'am, are you going to use that under your arms? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, I was just going to let you know that it might cause a little sensitivity for a few days. You might want to wear, a tank top or something so that you don't have the sensitivity. He says, are you going to use it on your legs? And she says, no. Well, same kind of thing. It might cause a little sensitivity the first time, so you might want to wear shorts or whatever. He says, what? But ma'am, if you're not going to use it under your arms or you're not going to use it on your legs, where are you going to use it? And she says, I'm going to use it on my schnauzer. And he says, I wouldn't ride your bicycle for at least a week. So now every time I see a schnauzer, I lose. Like walking into a restaurant and then somebody's like walking a schnauzer, I go like, there's a schnauzer. Don't ride your bike for my wife can't. She just she's so over this joke. That's a chihuahua.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Tiny thing, whining. So why are you not paying attention to me? Listen to the dad jokes over here.
Right, there you go. It's a perfectly clean joke, so
it is.
Mm-hmm.
The perfectly clean chihuahua.
Oh, you gotta wait. There's 2 chihuahuas in the meeting.
No, that's my wife. She's
she's
on the
they
computer.
ran from one camera to the other.
She just rolled with it and pranked you guys. So like teleport.
Yeah, I didn't.
On my screen, they're right next to each other. So as you pass it through your screen, it's perfect.
That's too funny. I had no idea. I'm thinking that there were 2 chihuahuas in that meeting. That's crazy.
Well, I was gonna go with
Alright.
Alexa's twin just married Clay, but you know. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Nathan. Awesome job. I really
Nathan, thank
appreciate it.
I wish I was here.
Um,
I will go back and watch the recording. So
And actually, so
appreciate you
Nathan,
sharing.
Nathan, you beat Ken's presentation out so by attendance. So more people were interested in hearing you speak than Ken. So congratulations.
Bingo.
dang.
You rock on, man. You rock on. One day I'll tell you about my scariest speaking presentation I ever did. Today's not the day. Oh, I thought you knew this one, Marty.
Maybe.
I'll tell the story another time, but
Okay.
I followed Colin Powell. I was terrified.
Mm,
Yeah. That was the craziest and
That's
scariest
a-
speaking I've ever done. Yeah.
I don't remember the details of it. I remember I heard of something about it, but this
Yeah.
is like
International
10 years
Building
ago.
Conference, International Building Conference back in 2005. Was it 2005, 2006? And International Building Conference, and I I had gone to a I had been invited to a speaking engagement for the Southeastern Builders Conference like 2 years prior. And I went, I was completely prepared. I had notes and everything. I show up and they take me to this room that I'm going to speak in. And it might have been a room that could have hold 35 people, and 20 people were there. And I was fully prepared and I gave a great speech, blah, 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 to 20 people. They invite me to come to the International Building Conference. And I think to myself, 20 people, I prepare. I'm just going to wing it. I show up and they bring me to the speaker ready room. The speaker ready room is huge. And I'm like, can you show me where I'm going? They're asking me, do you want to speak behind the podium or do you want a lavalier? And I'm like, well, can I see the room? They take me to the room. It's a room that'll hold like 2,000 people. And I'm like, and they're like, yeah, you're the keynote speaker is Colin Powell and you go on after him. I'm like, what? I'm like, I got no notes. I'm not prepared. And now I'm scared to death. Right. So that's my story. It was nuts. He's an incredible speaker too, by the way. So there was a break in between him. I didn't go direct. I did not follow him. Like he did not introduce me. That'd have been weird. There was a break in between him. So after he spoke, they went on break for like 20 minutes, and then I came to speak. But I did follow right behind him. The room had not emptied, and so I still had a lot of people. And the first question I asked was, "How many people saw Colin Powell speak?" Everybody raised their hand. I said, "I'm not him. I'm not him."
Perfect way to break the ice.
Yes, and then my follow-up line to that was my mom told me when I was nervous about speaking that I should picture people in their underwear. You guys look amazing. That settled me right down. So
always telling jokes. It's awesome.
always telling jokes, man. Always. All right, guys, have a great evening. Glad I dropped in for a second. Sorry I missed the main thing, but I had a client meeting ran over, so I couldn't make it. It happens.
Those
Have a
dark
good
clouds,
evening, guys.
Have a great
I
evening.
know it.
Thank you. Nice
See you
meeting you,
guys.
Marty.
Nice
See you,
meeting you.
Nathan. Thank
Bye,
you. Nice
guys.
meeting you.
See ya.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
You guys here? I think Alex might be driving and John left. All right, guys, have a great weekend. I can kick you out. God.